Today's mission is exploring your inner architecture.
Yeah, we are basically decoding what actually happens in your brain right after you do something brave.
Exactly. Because
Yeah.
we often assume that taking a real risk like setting a firm boundary or, finally sharing your creative work will just feel instantly empowering.
Right, but the reality is usually a lot messier. I mean, instead of a triumphant high, you are hit with this massive wave of shame and second guessing.
Yeah, the classic vulnerability hangover. Okay, let's unpack this. Why does doing the brave thing feel so terrible in the moment?
Well, a vulnerability hangover is jarring, for sure. But experiencing it does not mean you failed or made a mistake. I mean, it is simply evidence that you are stretching beyond your old familiar patterns.
So it's a sign of growth, not a red flag.
Right. In the immediate aftermath of bravery, your inner courtroom often explodes with this script of shame telling you that you sounded stupid or, that you were just way too intense.
Ah, so that is just your inner critic launching a counterattack.
Exactly.
And it helps to understand why the critic attacks in the first place, right? Because, evolutionary speaking, your nervous system actually does not know the difference between a social risk like speaking your mind and a physical threat.
Yes.
Yeah.
It floods your body with shame to force you back into the safety of the tribe. Because historically, standing out meant getting eaten.
Wow, getting eaten. That really puts it in perspective.
It really does. But if left unchecked today, that hangover threatens your future alignment. Like, it reinforces this outdated belief that shrinking is the safest option.
It basically teaches your nervous system that risk and honesty only ever lead to an internal attack.
Exactly.
I love thinking about this like a home renovation. Imagine you just installed this beautiful, sturdy new beam of courage in your living room.
Oh, I love that analogy.
But immediately, your inner critic walks in and starts swinging a sledgehammer right at it. So how do we stop the demolition before the house collapses?
Well, to stop the sledgehammer, you have to dispatch your inner repair crew. And you do that by sitting compassionately with those unwanted, messy parts of your inner architecture.
Instead of just hiding them.
Yeah. When you meet that hangover with kindness rather than judgment, you actively rewire your nervous system. You teach it a new truth, which is risk plus honesty equals I can survive this.
Right, so you intercept the shame spiral with a compassionate reframe. Like, if your critic is screaming that you sounded needy when you ask for help, you actively respond to it.
What's fascinating here is that self-compassion acts as the mortar securing that new behavior.
Yeah.
You could literally say to yourself, I sounded human, and it was good enough for where I am right now.
I sounded human. I really like that. But if self-compassion is the immediate first aid, how do we do the long-term physical therapy so the next risk doesn't hurt as much?
That is the next step. How do we reinforce the whole house against future storms? The research mentions visually mapping your inner landscape.
It's like drawing an actual map.
Yes, you literally map it out using symbols. You might draw a valley to represent a recent low-energy depressive episode, or maybe a mountain for an upcoming hard conversation.
Or like storm clouds for current worries.
Exactly. Seeing this terrain helps you identify exactly where your structure needs reinforcement. And once you see it, you apply grounded gratitude and intentional joy.
Okay, wait, I have to push back here a little bit. Intentional joy rituals and grounded gratitude sound suspiciously like the toxic positivity we are always trying to avoid.
I totally bet why you'd say that.
I mean, how is this different from just pasting a good vibes only sticker over a collapsing wall?
That is a crucial distinction to make. Toxic positivity, or spiritual gaslighting, is forcing yourself to find a silver lining while ignoring actual damage.
Right, like pretending everything is fine when it's not.
Yeah. Grounded gratitude is the deliberate practice of noticing the beams that are actually holding you up, even when the roof feels incredibly heavy. I mean, it is acknowledging the struggle while recognizing your strength.
Okay, that makes sense. And it completely redefines how we look at self-care. It isn't just about expensive bubble baths, it is essential structural maintenance.
Absolutely. To fortify those beams, we have to replace our constant productivity guilt with a daily 10-minute intentional joy ritual.
So just letting yourself experience joy without having to earn it.
Yes, because joy and gratitude aren't luxuries. They are the actual structural nourishment your architecture requires to keep standing through the storms.
So what does this all mean? I think it means bravery is inherently messy, but by treating your mind like an architecture, you can use compassion, gratitude, and a little intentional joy to reinforce your new boundaries.
Which brings us to your next step. Think about one recent risk you took that triggered a vulnerability hangover.
Yeah, really think of that moment.
What is one compassionate sentence you can offer yourself today to reinforce that bravery?
And I will leave you with this. If your inner critic was originally just a structural defense mechanism like heavy scaffolding built to shield you from the storms of rejection, what would happen if you actually thanked that old scaffolding for keeping you safe before finally taking it down?